Hi there, this is Duncan Ferguson from Learning Ideas Limited. I'm just going to make a quick video showing how I start teaching mixing to some of my junior students. All we're going to work on today is showing how to import the audio into your DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, and here I'm using Studio One Free. I'm going to show you how to import it, then we're going to show you how I go about balancing the faders, then using pan, and then use some EQ, and that's all we're going to do for this video. That's what I think students should start with before they move on with compression, bus auxiliary sends, and a whole lot of other things like reverb. So anyway, first thing I've done is you can use audio you've recorded yourself, but I do suggest you use professionally recorded, pre-recorded music. And I like to get a lot of my audio from this website here. This is Mike Senior's brilliant website, cambridge-mt.com, or from this cool website here, which is Weathervane Music, or shakingthrough.com. And I'm going to use actually the audio from this episode they created of a band called Hop Along. There are two really interesting videos you can watch as well. But once you're logged in, you're able to download raw tracks and also mix stems. Now I've already gone and imported, downloaded the mix stems, and here they all are. So I'm going to drag and drop those into Studio One. Select them all, I'll deselect the bottom track and drop them in. And this is what it sounds like. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to bring all of my faders down to 0. So with the first track in my mixer selected, I'm going to hold down Shift and select all of the tracks, pull them all down. And I'm going to go find my vocals, which we have over here on track 19, and I'm going to bring them up to 0. If you have trouble getting it, you can just double click there and type in 0. Now that's my main vocal. Let's just have a listen to what that sounds like.
Sagging net, and it's full of eels twisting through the eye sockets.
These other two tracks I've been playing around with here are the effects for the vocals. So I'm going to go through with all the rest of the instruments, starting with the drums down this end, moving on to the bass guitar and the guitars, and bring everything up to a rough balance so they're supporting the vocal. The vocal is the most important instrument or part of the song, which is why I've started with it first.
And this fiend has no family. Talked about thumbing down that truck ride for the first friend. That's when you learn the fierceness of mankind. How long it took.
Okay, once I have a rough balance of all of my faders, I'm now going to do some panning. For this track, I'm going to only just really focus on the guitars and panning them away from the middle, from the vocal. With drums, I would usually maybe pan the toms across the stereo field, maybe put the overheads in left and right, but with these stems, I'm going to keep everything down the middle. So the guitars are over on tracks 11 and following those. Okay, after I've done some panning, I'm now going to put an EQ channel strip on, channel strip with EQ in it onto each track. So the first thing is the vocal.
Supposed to mean, well, help! My uncle's gone insane, and his room he sits shaking.
Okay, around about 200 hertz, a little bit muffled, so I'm just going to pull that out a little bit. So what I'm be doing here is I usually tune up the EQ to find where the frequencies sound their worst, where the particular instrument I'm looking at sounds its worst. Once I find where it's at its worst, I then pull it down into negative values to have a see if it's going to fix it.
Geranium outside, the old dog resign leaves heavy tracks for.
So we've gone and made that track brighter by pulling out some of those low frequencies. Let's show you how I'll do it now with the kick drum. Sounds quite boxy sounding, a little bit wooden, not liking it very much, so I'll pull it down. Just makes it a little bit punchier.
That dog you love so much, you know I had to do it.
Now I'll go and do that with the rest of the tracks, putting an EQ in, finding where the one frequency in each track is not very nice, and then cutting it out by moving into negative values. And I'll do that with all of the tracks. I will not actually ever boost the EQ. I won't ever go and do any of these in the initial stages, because I think it's important just to focus on cutting frequencies rather than boosting frequencies, because when you're new to this, sometimes by boosting things you think that it sounds better because your ear prefers louder sounds, when in actual fact it's not actually. It's just making everything a bit muddier and a bit more cluttered in your mix. Also, when you're EQing, I wouldn't always do it with your tracks in solo. I would just do that initially to get each track cleaned up, and then I would always EQ with tracks not in solo, so you can hear what adjustments, the effect they're having on the rest of the track, your adjustments are having. So we imported our tracks, we balanced our faders, we panned some of our tracks to make a bit of space across the stereo field, and we've played one with EQ. If you're a class, I would suggest that you do this for 4 to 6 weeks, maybe do 3 or 4 projects that you can download from those websites I showed you before, and just focus on getting good sounds with EQ. And most importantly, share your mixes with each other in the class. Plug your computers into your school's stereo system, your classroom stereo system, and make sure you can compare mixes and figure out whose is the best and why it's the best, and then copy each other. There we go. Thanks very much.